news. Ladies and gentlemen, there's people out there in the boxing world that's mad angry at Oscar De La Hoya's recent comments in reference to a potential fight with his fighter, Vergil Ortiz versus Jaron Boots Ennis. And it doesn't sound too optimistic that this fight is going to be next for both of these fighters. But let's dissect what Oscar De La Hoya did say in his recent post. Let's see if we understand it, overstand it, agree, disagree. Let's see. So let's listen to the golden one.
I'm really excited to be working with PBC and Al Heyman.
Wait a minute. Wait. Now, we understand that Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy Promotions, and PBC had the little differences, had the little battle and drama. Let's not forget Al Heyman, you know what I'm saying? He did come to the boxing world and stole Oscar De La Hoya's, product, almost all the fighters and stuff like that. So I know how mad Oscar De La Hoya was. But the good thing about Oscar De La Hoya, he still kept that company afloat. You know what I'm saying? Got to give a lot of credit to Oscar De La Hoya. He mastered the art in the ring and mastered the business of boxing. But let's not contradict ourselves, ladies and gentlemen, because when Turki Alalshikh emerged, people were saying, yo, we like Turki Alalshikh. He's putting the great fights and stuff like that, and he's working with all the promoters. So it's a good thing that Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy Promotions, and Al Heyman PBC working together. Matter of fact, PBC and Golden Boy Promotions produced one of the most lucrative fights in recent time. Let's not forget, Jaron Davis versus Ryan Garcia. Did well over 1 million pay-per-view buys. Also, let's not forget that they did work on the Canelo Alvarez versus Jaime Munguia. Even though that we want to see Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez. But at the end of the day, they've been working together and they have lucrative. If you really think about the history of Golden Boy Promotions, Oscar De La Hoya and Al Heyman, even when Al Heyman was working with Oscar De La Hoya, they produced very, very good event. So it's good news if we want to keep the same consistency as Turki Alalshikh. Look, he got Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn working together. He got all the promoters working together. Eddie Hearn, Bob Arum, you know what I'm saying? Bob Arum, PBC, and all the promoters working together. So if y'all want to give credit to Turki Alalshikh, give credit to Oscar De La Hoya and PBC. Keep on going.
I'm looking to keep the fights here in the U.S.
Oh, wait a minute. As much as we know that when you're a world champion, it's a world sport. I mean, look, Muhammad Ali for Foreman out there in Africa. What about Frazier and Muhammad Ali? They did fought out there in the Thriller Manila in the Philippines. Let's not forget that when Buster Douglas beat well, I'm not going to say beat the crap because I'm still mad. Still hungry that Mike Tyson lost to Buster Douglas, but it was out there in Japan. But in the end of the day, do I really want to see fights like Boots Ennis versus Vergil Ortiz in Saudi Arabia? Shout out to all my Saudi Arabian people, but that fight's supposed to be here. I want to see it here. I want the atmosphere, the energy in America. Do you really want to see a guy? Do you really want to see, let's say, look, Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez? That's easily could have been out there in Saudi Arabia. We're getting it in New York City, Madison Square Garden, 2 tri-state area fighters. Good. Imagine we would have seen, a lot of people was mad that Teofimo Lopez, he pulled out of negotiations versus Devin the Dream Haney, but guess what? We was going to get that fight out there in Saudi Arabia. Or did you want to see Teofimo Lopez versus Devin the Dream Haney out here in Las Vegas or something like that? Come on now. What about David Benavidez versus Canelo Alvarez? Would you want to see that fight out there in Saudi Arabia? No, you want to see it right here. So I'm good with Oscar De La Hoya saying that we're going to put fights out here in America. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep on going, Oscar. Okay, I'm agreeing with you for the most part. Let's go, Oscar.
Eddie Hearn is begging the media for this Boots and Vergil Ortiz fight.
Oh, wait a minute. Not only is Eddie Hearn the one begging for this fight, the world of boxing wants this fight. The world of boxing wants this fight. So it's not only Eddie Hearn, Oscar. I want it. Eddie wants it. The whole boxing world wants it. The fan base wants it. Vergil Ortiz fans, Boots Ennis fans want it. So it's not only Eddie Hearn, but I'm going to agree what Oscar De La Hoya is about to say. So I'm not all in agreement that it's just Eddie Hearn. It's everybody wants that fight. But proceed, Oscar.
It's so stupid as a promoter to pigeonhole your fighter into one opponent. Look.
I agree. I agree. You know why? Because I've been one of the people that have been saying that the fans, the media, the independent media, y'all gotta stop acting like there's only one fight and there's only one mega fight. Put it this way. We always say that the most stacked division in the sport of boxing is the 154-pound division. And you've been following Punch Drunk Boxing. You know that this has been my favorite division. This has been the division that I said is the most stacked division in the sport of boxing, is the landmine division in the sport of boxing. Anybody can get it. The number one, the top number one could lose to the number 10 because that's how stacked it is. And if a division is stacked, that means that there is a lot of great fights. We can't say, oh, there's a stacked division, but only asking for one fight. So, ladies and gentlemen, a Boots versus Vergil is a great fight. But a Vergil versus Fundura, great fight. Vergil versus Thurman. Vergil versus Charlo. Vergil versus Madrimov was a good fight. The Bochek was a good fight. Boots versus, if Spence going to be back at 154, you saw him in the Instagram story. He's willing to come back. Wouldn't you want to see a Boots versus Spence? It's a big fight. Boots versus Thurman, big fight. Boots on Fundura. Boots, Xander Zayas, Vergil Ortiz. Charlo and Vergil. Charlo and Boots. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. It is Josh Kelly versus Vergil Ortiz. Josh Kelly, the winner of Josh Kelly versus Bakram versus Jaron Boots Ennis. What about Conor Benn? Conor Benn is lurking around the 154-pound division. If Josh Kelly beats Bakram, then Josh Kelly versus Conor Benn will sell out any stadium in the UK. So, that's smart, Oscar De La Hoya. Vergil Ortiz just doesn't got one fight. And people shouldn't be pigeonholing just saying that this is the best. Because let's be real, let's be honest. Vergil is not a world champion outside of the WBC interim. Let's be real, let's be honest. That's not the belt that Vergil Ortiz, the precision, right? Vergil Ortiz, Jaron Boots Ennis is not also the world champion. So, they will be fighting with no titles. So then that also goes back to the contradiction and the hypocrisy of the boxing fans want to pick and choose when belts truly matter. Does belts truly matter with Jaron Boots Ennis and Vergil Ortiz? Because if they fight each other, regardless who the winner is, they're only fighting for bragging rights, not for the world title that's going to go and enhance their legacy, in my opinion, when it's all said and done. But keep on going. The golden one, I agree.
Vergil can fight 2 or 3 different guys in mega fights.
Wait a minute. I just said that. Vergil Ortiz versus Earl the True Spence in Dallas Stadium. 60,000 plus. If Earl Spence and Ugas could do 40,000 people, I think it was 39,000 in the stadium, but almost, let's say 40,000. Let's round it off to 40,000. 40,000 to people that don't even know who Ugas. Ugas don't really have a fan base. And still do 40,000 Earl Spence and Ugas? Can you imagine Vergil Ortiz and Earl Spence? Jerry Jones is fans of both Vergil Ortiz and Earl Spence. Dallas loves Earl Spence. Dallas loves Vergil Ortiz. They both came, they have the same background, the same teacher taught them. Shout out to the fathers as well. Shout out to Earl Spence Sr. and shout out to Vergil Ortiz Sr. Great father. Great fathers, great trainers, great management, great guys in their son's corner. They got a history. That will be a good fight. That would be a big fight. Keep on going, Golden One.
Boots is part of the plan, but it doesn't have to be next.
True. Boots is part of the plan. It doesn't have to be next. And to be honest, if, like I said before, if this is a stacked division, it doesn't have to be next. But the next has to be a fight that is highly respected, that we could be like, you know what? Okay. I'm going to give you one example. In the past, I wanted to see the undisputed of Canelo Alvarez versus Demetrius Andre, right? That didn't come through fruition, right? But what did Canelo Alvarez do next? Canelo Alvarez still fought Sergey Kovalev, moved to the 175-pound division and became a 3-division world champion. So it was like, damn, man, I wanted to see that fight because they've been talking about a potential fight with Boo Boo and Canelo since 154. Damn, now it's undisputed, but damn, I didn't get that fight. But you can't get mad at Oscar De La Hoya and Canelo Alvarez because they got the Sergey Kovalev fight, which is still a legacy and enhances legacy and made him more of a dangerous fighter and stuff like it was a respectable fight. So if Vergil is not going to be fighting Boots next, I hope he's going to be fighting a top. It's Earl Spence. I hope it's Jamel Charlo. I hope it's one of these names that we could say, you know what? Hey, he's fighting Jamel Charlo next. I mean, Jamel Charlo was undisputed. Damn, he's fighting Earl the True Spence. I mean, Earl Spence got the money and got a good legacy. I mean, you can't get mad at that. You understand what I'm trying to say? But if Vergil Ortiz don't fight Boots and then he fights Blair Cobbs, no. Keep on going, the golden one.
60-40 for Vergil and 5% to the winner.
Wait a minute. 60-40 for Vergil. And I'm not going to be too mad at that. But listening to how Eddie Hearn been talking and Oscar De La Hoya been talking, you know what I've noticed? Jaron Boots Ennis effed up the bag, the turkey bag, for both of these fighters, for himself and for Vergil. So I can understand why Oscar De La Hoya is now going to be playing hardball. No, wait a minute. We had a lucrative offer for both of our fighters. Have y'all noticed, folks, that Turki Alalshikh is nowhere to be found when it comes to the when it comes to the Vergil Ortiz versus Jaron Boots Ennis? Ladies and gentlemen, I've been telling y'all that, in my opinion, that the rug was going to be stripped right underneath these promoters. Everybody was blind. Everybody was blind to the intentions of Turki Alalshikh. I mean, look, Turki Alalshikh has done a wonderful job. But also, Turki Alalshikh of late didn't want Bivol versus Benavidez, Parker versus Usyk. Deontay Wilder and Usyk is gonna go and deal with I think PBC, and they're gonna do that. I think that's gonna happen because Hitchens, he's now gonna work with Hitchens unless that Hitchens signs back with Matchroom Boxing. He didn't even want Canelo Alvarez versus Jake Paul. Why you put the Canelo Alvarez versus William Skull? I'd rather see Canelo Alvarez versus Jake Paul and do what Anthony Joshua did to Jake Paul and then move to that September date and still fight Bud Crawford. It would have been a bigger fight, bigger event. And you know what? I think it would have been better for Canelo Alvarez. Well, that was a boring weekend, right? And if put it this way, if y'all didn't care about the belts anyway, why did you waste our time for putting Canelo Alvarez versus William Skull? Oh, because the belts did matter. It did matter for Canelo Alvarez to go out there in Saudi Arabia, get that belt right back, so Bud Crawford could have the potential to become an undisputed 3-division undisputed world champion. But then he didn't pay for it, and then the people are saying, "Well, the belts doesn't matter." But the belts matter when it was when the belts was on the line. I don't know. Anyway, a lot of contradictions and hypocrisy. But all I'm saying is, I think, and I could be wrong, Turki Alalshikh is now 1 foot in and 1 foot out the door in the sport of boxing. TKO is going to be taking over. He's actually like giving the keys. He is Dana White. Do what you got to do. I'm gonna hook you with the business, the Paramount deal. Think about it. Dana White just locked in a Paramount deal. Remember, Showtime, and it's Paramount. Showtime and Paramount, they don't want to do nothing with combat sports. No boxing, no MMA. But all of a sudden, a guy that hasn't done anything in the sport of boxing has done wonderful things in the UFC, but haven't done anything in the sport of boxing, gonna get a $7.6 billion deal. No American network want to work with any of the promoters in the sport of boxing. ESPN is out, NBC is out, CBS is out, Showtime is out, HBO, you already know is out, and stuff like that. But you're going to lock in a $1 billion deal with an entity that hasn't done anything in the sport of boxing, haven't proven themselves in the sport of boxing. Is Turki Alalshikh cutting people off? Is Turki Alalshikh moving on to another sport, and it's time for the Prince and Turki Alalshikh to invest in another sport because boxing just wasn't cutting it? Something we need to think about. But Boots Ennis did avoid the fight with Vergil Ortiz. He did duck that fight with Vergil Ortiz when there was a Turki Alalshikh money on the table. He also ducked the Teofimo Lopez fight right after Teofimo Lopez beat Arnold Barbosa, and he wanted to take less money to get the stand. He owned this fight. Boots Ennis effed up the bag, the turkey bag for Vergil and himself. So now is a Golden Boy promotion and matchroom boxing negotiations. Is it that Turkey don't want to do nothing with Vergil Ortiz and Boots? Or is it that Eddie Hearn and Oscar De La Hoya seeing the moves that Turki Alalshikh is making with outside entities like a Dana White, and they talking to themselves and saying, we got to do this by ourselves. If we just give up Boots and you give up Vergil, what do we have? It's time for us to take back the empowerment of our promotional company. We got to do this fight without Turkey. The memo was sent, and Turkey said, what are you doing? I cannot work with Boots. I cannot work with him. I give him all the money. He say no to me. Nobody say no to me. There's a lot of things behind the scenes I think is happening in the sport of boxing that, we just don't know. But it's kind of strange that Turkey is not talking about Boots versus Vergil, and it's Oscar De La Hoya and Matchroom Boxing negotiating. No, what happened to Turkey? Yeah. And you see these fighters keep on mentioning, these promoters keep on mentioning the disapproval of the Muhammad Ali Act changing or stripping the Muhammad Ali Act. They sending a message to Turki Alalshikh, wait a minute. Oh, I see what you're trying to do. You wouldn't even have us with one of the biggest events with Netflix and Canelo Alvarez versus Terence but Crawford. You left us out. They're waking up that Turki Alalshikh may have a whole different agenda that has nothing to do with these promoters. Again, snatching that rug underneath. And these guys are catching on just like this. Before it's too late. Where's Top Rank? What is their network? You're telling me Top Rank, one of the most accomplished promotional boxing companies in the history of the sport of boxing, can lock in a deal, but Dana White, that never proved himself in boxing, locked in a 6.6, 7.7, whatever $1 billion deal with Paramount, who didn't want to do nothing with it. Who's talking to these networks and saying, don't do business with that, don't do business with that, don't do business with that? It's kind of weird, folks. It's kind of weird. But hey, I'm just a drunk with a mic. What do I know? At the end of the day, I believe that I want to see the fight with Vergil Ortiz versus Jaron Boots Ennis, but that's not the only fight in a stacked division in 154. I'm not going to be a slave to that fight right now. That's a fight that I desperately want to see, but that's not a fight that I'm going to shame either or. If Boots could get the winner of the Xander Zayas fight and Vergil gets the winner of Fundura versus Sturman, or you get the likes of Jamel or you get the likes of Earl Spence. When Boots and Jamel Charlo was going back and forth talking, I like it. When we seen Jamel Charlo said, remember early in his Instagram post that he's willing to fight his friend Earl the True Spence, Thurman Fundura. Hey, I wouldn't even be mad if Boots go out there and beat up Tim Tszyu. It's a stacked division for a reason. 1 through 10th, the 154-pound division is a very lucrative and exciting division. So let's not be a slave to just one fight and be all frustrated over one fight. It's too many great fights. And these guys still have to prove themselves. Even if they fight each other, and even if they win, whoever wins, they still got to prove themselves. You still got to fight Xander Zayas. You still got to fight the winner from Duran Thurman. And if the Jamel Charlo, the guy that never lost his undisputed crown, comes back to his division, he could claim that I am still king. And none of the belt holders could say anything about it.